Welcome back, everybody. Brandon Judd serves as the president of the National Border Patrol Council and has been sounding the alarm on the very issues we've been discussing tonight. He's been talking about it for 2 years. Most of what he has predicted has come true. Joining us right now is Brandon Judd. Brandon, great to have you on the show.
John, it's always good to be with you. Thank you.
I want to start. There is a lot of media coverage that demeans the Border Patrol, sometimes even calls some of the information the Border Patrol puts out disinformation when it's not. The morale of our agents, the guys and women on the front lines, what is that like right now?
It's lower than I've ever seen it. You know, we put on the uniform, want to go out there, protect the American people, and we're just not allowed to do that right now. When you look at the total number of people that are getting away, that are evading apprehension, it's a very scary situation right now. And it's very demoralizing knowing that we can't do the job that we want to do to protect our fellow citizens.
Yeah, and one of the things I know you see often are migrants who get themselves in serious trouble, security or safety wise, they drown. We're closing in, I think, on 900 deaths for the year. Your team is out there rescuing people every day, but we're putting people in harm's way by creating the illusion that they can come in across the rivers and through the cartels, aren't we? It's a very unsafe trip, isn't it?
It is. I'm going to go back to James Epling in Yuma, Arizona. He went into the river to save migrants from China that were in the United States illegally. He lost his life. He left behind 4 young children and of course, a wife. And so, yeah, we put ourselves in harm's way. We willingly do that. We want to, again, protect the American people, and we want to protect those people that are crossing the border illegally, even though they are committing a crime. We just don't see the help from the Democrats in allowing us to do that job, to protect those individuals. In fact, they're encouraging these people to put themselves in harm's way. They're encouraging them to cross the Rio Grande River and to be swept away, young children being swept away out of the arms of mothers at times. That happened twice last month. And so, yeah, it's a very dangerous situation. And the Democrats just seem like they don't care about the sanctity of life, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really stunning. And the numbers don't lie. This is going to be the most deadly year ever for crossing the border. And no one wants to talk about that.
By far.
Yeah, by far.
It's going to be the deadliest year by far. I mean, when you look at it prior to President Biden taking office, the most deaths that we ever had was a little over 300. Now we're right at 800. Yeah, it's the most dangerous situation we've ever seen by far. And again, I'm going to go back to that point. The Democrats do not care. They give it lip service, but their actions are far from caring.
It is just amazing to see the lack of attention and the ignorance that's being applied. I want to take you to an issue that a lot of people don't talk about. There have been reports by some members of Congress who were briefed by Homeland that there's large numbers of Venezuelans being emptied from prisons. But whether that turns out to be true or not, the fact that a large number of the people, 5 to 10% of the people you encounter, are people that have had serious past criminal offenses. We're getting bad people constantly coming across the border, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And this is the scariest thing about border security. When you're dealing with people that have criminal records here in the United States, and we don't know what their criminal records are in their own countries. If Venezuela is emptying out their jails and these people cross the border illegally, we're not going to know about that record, that criminal history that they have in Venezuela. And if we don't know about it, we're ultimately going to release them into the United States. That is a very scary proposition for the American people. And again, it goes back to border security, whether or not this administration is going to give us the tools necessary to protect the homeland, to protect our fellow citizens. And they're just not doing it right now. And if this actually comes to fruition, it's going to be very scary to see what the outcome is. We might not know what the outcome is immediately, but we will ultimately hear of all of the stories of these criminals coming into the United States and the crimes that they will commit against our own citizens. And again, that's the scariest aspect of border security.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of those heinous crimes already. A father in Florida killed when he thought he was taking in a 17-year-old who turned out to be a 20-something-year-old and killed the father.
The 10-year-old, the 10-year-old in Ohio, right, that was raped multiple times, was impregnated by somebody. And by the way, that is a person that evaded apprehension. We didn't even take that individual into custody. When he was arrested for that rape of that 10-year-old girl and he was fingerprinted, he never showed up in any of our databases, which means he was able to evade apprehension. He was one of the gotaways. Again, very scary situation.
Yeah, it really is. I want to talk about something that is creating a death toll on our side of the border. fentanyl coming in at record amounts, being made to look like candy. The cartels seem to have a significant amount of operational control at the border now. What do you see? How large is that operational control to facilitate human and drug trafficking?
They're able to dictate to us what our operations are going to be. All they have to do is flood our resources with large groups of illegal border crossers, pull our agents out of the field, create artificial gaps, cross our higher value products. That's the fentanyl, that's the criminal aliens, that's the aliens from special interest countries. But like you said, the fentanyl is one of the major issues that we're dealing with today in the United States. Those pills right there are being packaged for children. For children, that is going to cause death of a great number of our children. Right now, the leading cause of death in the United States among 18-year-olds to 45-year-olds is fentanyl overdose. This is something that's coming from our southwest border. It's being facilitated by China. The precursors come into Mexico. It's being manufactured by the cartels and crossing our border. Again, transnational criminal organizations, something that we didn't see prior to the Biden administration.
Some Republicans are beginning to call it chemical warfare. What do you think of that assessment of it?
I agree. I agree. And it should be. Unless we're willing to define the problem, we're never going to come up with the solutions. We have to talk about whether or not this is a crisis. If this administration will not say that we have a border crisis, they're not going to come up with solutions. And that's what we've seen. No new programs, operations, policies, nothing new to help get the border under control.
We got about 60 seconds left. Brandon, what do the men and women of the Border Patrol need from our government right now? What's the solution for them at this very moment?
Policy. We don't need to pass this on to the taxpayer. We don't need additional resources. We need policy. If we have the proper policy, we can secure the border. That's what we're pushing for. That's what we want. We don't want to put this burden on the American taxpayer.
That makes so much sense. I think people today understand why so many of the men and women of the Border Patrol really appreciate you, Brandon. You give us straight truth, straight facts, and solutions, something Washington isn't giving us very much of on the border. Great honor to have you on the show today, sir.
Thank you, John. Always good to talk to you.
You as well. All right, folks, we're nearing the end of our hour tonight. However, we do have one more guest that will speak to this very issue, drop statistics, and propose solutions. We'll be right back after these messages.